Good morning students, welcome back to our series on UGC NET 2025 previous year questions. In this video lecture series, we are discussing every single thing, all the important questions that you should be studying. There is no such new syllabus. It was just about the understanding of the topics that might have you qualified this competitive examination in the June attempt. And in this video, we are going to discuss the Roland Barthes death of the author, what he said, and then his counter argument, that is of Michel Foucault, what is an author. So this whole video lecture is about what is an author by Michel Foucault. We will discuss a bit of Roland Barthes, but then what is an author by Michel Foucault. You must be remembering every single thing from this video because we might expect the questions in the December attempt again. And by the end of this video, I will take you to the question that was asked in the 2025 examination, and it was really simple. How could you answer that question? But in order to answer these questions, you must be well versed through all these topics that we are discussing. All right, so let's start with the video. Michel Foucault's What is an Author? We all know that what is an author? Author is someone who writes a book. But Michel Foucault, yes, Michel Foucault destroys this particular meaning of an author is someone who writes a book. He shows us something far more complex and fascinating things about the definition of author. So this essay, What is an Author, was first published in 1969, and here we have to understand that his concept of author function. Yes, author function is a new definition which separates us from the traditional meaning of author. Okay, Foucault says the meaning, the definition of author has now changed from author to author function. So all this philosophy of Michel Foucault started with Roland Barthes' essay. Roland Barthes says death of the author. Yes, he wrote this essay, the death of the author, in 1967. You have to remember the years from all the literary theory because they are asking the chronology also. So 1967, death of the author is written by Roland Barthes, and then after 2 years, Michel Foucault replied to Roland Barthes and he wrote What is an Author in 1969. Roland Barthes argues that once a work is written, the author is dead. The author should no longer tell the meaning of the text. It will be on the reader. Reader will read the text and reader will create the meaning. The community of readers will figure out what would be the meaning of the text. So he declared the death of the author. But Foucault says that author is not dead. Author has now become author function. He says that modern meaning of author has now shifted from author to author function. We will discuss author function throughout this video. Okay, but let's first understand what is author. You see, traditionally we used to say that author is a person who writes a novel, as we have discussed, or who writes a book. Okay, for example, if Mahatma Gandhi has written a novel, My Experiments with the Truth. So we try to understand the life of Mahatma Gandhi, his values, his psychology, and all these things helps us understand his own autobiographical work. But Foucault says, now do not ask who is the author. Now ask, what does an author do? He says that it is not the author who writes the work. Author is a part of system. That system is known as author function. For example, William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare has written a lot of works, but he is not an author. William Shakespeare is a system in himself. Shakespeare is now an author function. The whole literary world, the professors, the scholars, the universities, the colleges, every one of us is a part of this system of Shakespeare. So if you write a work, your work should align with the system of Shakespeare. Otherwise, your work will not be get accepted by the publishers. You will get rejected one after another. Your manuscript will get rejected because you are not following the system of Shakespeare. And we will see how this author function is controlled. Now let's get back to history. Before printing press, what used to happen? Before printing press, people used to write a poem anonymously, like Beowulf, Okay, Beowulf is an anonymous poem. We don't know the writer. Before printing press, folk tales had no names. Even religious texts like we see Bible, Quran, Gita, we don't know the exact authors of these works. Okay, so anonymously, someone writes something and it is just transformed from one generation to another generation through, you can say, oral tradition. Before printing press, there was no concept of author. There was no concept of author. But after printing press, concept of author came. Everything changed after printing press in the 15th century. Now the problem was people do not want to read the novels. Now they want to write. Now the people have become more and more educated after the printing press. Everyone has the books to read. So people started becoming more and more educated. So they started writing a lot of works. Still there is no concept of authorship. Educated class wrote the works anonymously, and many philosophers started questioning the government, started questioning the kings, started questioning the powerful authorities. Now these kings, these government, these powerful people get afraid because there is no concept of authorship. Who is writing these works? No one knows. So they introduced, it is a system, they introduced the powerful people, those kings, queens, and those government authorities. They introduced the concept of authorship. If anyone has to publish a work now, there must be the name of the author on that particular book. From here, the concept of authorship came. So that if any author writes something against the powerful people, these higher authorities must know the name and they can punish the philosopher. They can punish the revolutionary ideas. That is one of the reasons why the concept of authorship came. Another reason could be economic benefits. Like if your novel becomes best-selling novels, who will take the profits of that novel if there is no author? So authors deliberately started writing their names on the novels, so that if a novel gets best-selling, millions of copies got sold, so the profits will come to us. We see Alexander Pope was not so much rich, but then after his publications he started becoming very rich only because of the concept of authorship. So authorship was invented as the solution to these problems. Foucault explains authorship emerged alongside copyright laws, who owns the text, hearsay laws, who gets burned for dangerous ideas, publishing economics, who profits from sales, legal responsibilities, who goes to prison for sedition. That's why the authorship, the concept of authorship came. Now let's discuss the author as control mechanism, that how the author is getting controlled. If you are finding these videos, lectures helpful, then we have created similar lectures, 300 plus lectures in our UGC net course. You will be getting 8 booklets or 9 booklets, and if you subscribe to our UGC net batch, you will be getting every single thing. So you can join us as soon as possible. I will be personally guiding you how to qualify the December 2025 examination. You can download mobile application Limitless Literature or just simply WhatsApp me and we can have discussion. I will help you making your decision. Alright, so now let's get back to the topic of discussion, the control of authors. So Foucault says that earlier people used to think very creatively because there is no concept of authors. People has free thinking. Of course, because they have to write anonymously. So there is no concept of authorship earlier. So people used to think freely. But now the concept of author came. The author is not now natural creativity. Author is now a control mechanism. Author is not an author now. Author is now author function, a part of system. It is a part of system. He has to follow. He has to respect the author function. Let's understand the 4 characters of the author function. According to Michel Foucault, there are 4 characters of this author function. Let's look at them. Legal institutional link, variable across discourses, constructed through complex operations, decoupled from a single individual. Now here they can ask you a question, what all are the 4 functions of author functions, or which of the 3 are the part of author function, which is not the part of author function, the characteristics of the author function. They can make any question from here, because these all are the important details that you should be knowing for your examination. Now let's start with the first one. We will discuss one by one. First is legal institutional links. We have already discussed. So legal system requires the name of the author to punish the author. Yes, we need the name of the author. We need the name of the philosopher, so that the powerful people, the powerful people can punish those authors, those writers who are going against their value. We have already discussed copyright law protections, economic value in just in case your novel becomes best-selling novel, so you need the money that in the form of royalty that you will be getting. So economic value is also there. So these all are the part of legal institutional links. Now the second one is variable across discourses. Again, this is amazing concept. Foucault says that only the literary and philosophical works require the authors. There is no need of authors for other papers, for other writings. We do not require the name of the authors, because only the literary works and philosophical ideas go against the author function, go against the legal system, go against the powerful system. For example, you see government documents. Government documents are issued by the institutions. So government documents do not require the name of the author who has written this government document. Religious texts, you see, religious texts like Bible, Quran or Gita or any other text, they do not require the name of the author, because religious text also justifies the powerful people. Religion is only for the powerful people to manipulate the poor people. Poor people. Opium is religion. You can manipulate the poor people. Powerful people use religion, and it's a part of author function. Scientific research paper also does not require any author. Scientific research paper क्या कर लेंगे, साइंटिफिक पेपर्स, ठीक है, मून सन के अकॉर्डिंग घूम रहा है, सन मून के अकॉर्डिंग घूम रहा है. दीज आर नॉट क्वेश्चनिंग द पावरफुल अथॉरिटीज. सो साइंटिफिक रिसर्च पेपर्स ऑल्सो डज नॉट रिक्वायर एनी ऑथर. इट इज जस्ट एन पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. Only the literary works and philosophical works require the name of the author, so they can punish these sort of people. Now the next one is constructed through complex operations. Author is not just an author. Author is constructed through publishing house, through editors, through scholars, through educational institutes. Understand this point. Author is not an author. Author is created by editors. Like if you write a work, if you write a novel, then your novel editor will read your novel, publishing houses will read your novel, scholars will read your novel, and then they will decide whether your work should be published or not. It does not matter. If your work is revolutionary work, if you have so many great ideas, your work will not be published. Who decide it? The author function decides this. It is the system of publishing houses that will decide which work to get published and what not to publish. These publishers, scholars, schools, colleges, universities, all these are the part of the system, the powerful system. So that is the third point. Next one is decoupled from a single individual. Here again, decoupled from a single individual means according to your writing, the system will decide what sort of person you are. Okay, they will put you in some category. You see, Mark Twain, we say that Mark Twain was a satirical person. Sylvia Plath was a confessional poet. Edgar Allan Poe used to write detective stories. We say Ruskin Bond is a children's writer. Even though Ruskin Bond has written many intellectual works, his short stories are very intellectual if you read them. But then the system has put Ruskin Bond in the children's writer. So that is what author function do. So the system, the author function will put you in some category if you write some sort of work. So system, author function defines you. That is what Foucault has to say. Now let's get back to our discussion. Okay, Roland Barthes says that the author is dead. We should ignore the biographical information and authorial intention. Roland Barthes even wrote this famous sentence: the birth of the reader must be at the cost of the death of the author. But here, Michel Foucault goes against him. He says that the author is not disappeared, the author is not dead, the author is now shifted from author to being an author function. Text is not something that readers read. You see what Roland Barthes said. Roland Barthes said text is not about author, it is about the readers. Roland Barthes said death of the author. Interpretation should be done by the readers. But Foucault says, what are you talking about? Readers are also a part of system. A text cannot stand alone. It operates within author function. A text is a part of system, and Foucault says that meaning of the text is actually controlled by the system. That's very big. Multiplicity of the meaning is based on what system wants to show us. So this is something big. So multiplicity of the meaning is again controlled by the system. Proliferation of the meaning is controlled by the author function. So these are the things that you have to remember. There are 4 types of authors according to Michel Foucault. Please remember this point because they can ask you which of the following options are not a part of author function or the type of authors where Michel Foucault has said. So Michel Foucault gave 4 types of author. The first one is canonical author. For example, Shakespeare, Charles Dickens or Jane Austen. Canonical authors mean that these writers have some common themes, like Jane Austen used to write about society, so we put them under society, that she used to write on society, like Charles Dickens used to write on sort of social satire. So canonical authors have same themes. Okay, next one is initiators of discursive practices. In this particular type of authors we have writers or thinkers like Karl Marx, Sigmund Freud, Charles Darwin. Okay, so these are not just the writers, these are not just the names, they are the author function, they are the system. For example, if you want to study capitalism, you have to align yourself to the philosophies of Karl Marx. If you want to become a thinker in capitalism, if you want to become a thinker, if you want to become a professional thinker, you must align your point of view with the point of views of the Karl Marx. So Karl Marx is not an author. Karl Marx is itself an author function. He is a system in itself. You cannot go away from Karl Marx and write something of your own. Otherwise, system will not accept you. I hope you understand this point. Alright, so the third point is genre authors. The same way, genre authors like Harry Potter, if you want to write something about magical world or something, so you have to align yourself with the works of Harry Potter. Harry Potter is not a novel now, it is a part of author function. So if you want to write something magical world, you have to align yourself with Harry Potter. Alright, so the last one is cultural authors. Again, these are the anonymous authors. These authors do not do harm to the system. Like the religious books is a part of cultural authors. These religious books are written by anonymous. So all in all, Foucault says that you think that these literary works are the work of creativity. All these so-called creativity novels are a part of author function, and it is controlled by a system. You cannot go against the system. The text is not interpreted by the readers, but publishing houses, educational institutes, scholars. Otherwise, if you do not agree with these people, your work will never get published. So you are a part of author function. The meaning of the text is also a part of the author function. So literary works are not creative, it's just a bullshit. If everyone is saying literary works, it is a very creative work. Foucault says literary work is actually a part of complex social construction that serves specific powerful institutions. Therefore, knowledge controls power, power controls knowledge. So that is what Michel Foucault has to say in What is an Author, which is against Roland Barthes' Death of the Author. And now let's look at the question, that we have seen in the competitive exam. The notion of author constitutes the privileged moment of individualization. From here, the answer came. Who privileged the individualization? Who privileged the authorship? Who privileged the authorship? We have discussed. What is an author? This is what Michel Foucault is saying, that author function came. The privilegization of the authorship, the idea of authorship came after the printing press. If you want to publish any work, if you have some idea, you must publish it under the name of author. You must have any knowledge of literature, any literary work, any novel that you are going to write, you must write down the name of the author. Philosophy, write down the name of the author. So everything is the notion of author constitutes the privilege. Yes, this is the keyword, the privileged moment of individualization. The privileged moment of individualization means the privileged moment of authorship. So that is what asked in the question. So that is the answer. So you see here, most of the time students get wrong while decoding the question. What has been asked. So it takes 5 to 10 minutes to understand this question. Privilege, this is the thing, privilege of individualization. That is something that might have given us the answer. But before that, you might have knowledge of all these works, the death of the author, what is an author, what is new formalism. So something you have to study. So these are the topics that you must be studying for your December edit. But don't worry, we are here, we are producing videos every single day. Do let me know your comments, your views in the comment section below. That will encourage me to create more videos. Otherwise, we may have to stop if we do not get that much of inspiration from the readers, from the viewers of Limitless Literature. Alright, so again, you can join Limitless Literature ongoing batch on UGC net. I will be personally helping you how to qualify these competitive exams. I will see you soon in the next video. That's it for this. Thank you.